Hey, how's it going, folks? So I'm going to do a follow-on to Uvalde real quickly. Just everything I've heard. I think it's time for me to chime in my 2 cents. Let's start off with my comments on the police response to this, because there's a lot of people who are blindly defending the police, acting as if they did a good job. And Uvalde, and the fact of the matter is, it looks like a massive screw up. You know, and the fact of the matter is that there probably should be some people who step down from their bare minimum. There probably needs to be some investigation done into what's been going on, and there needs to be improvements, more importantly. And for those thin blue line people who just blindly defend cops, you're not helping the police out in this situation. You're not helping them improve. You're not giving them any more credibility or anything of that nature. It's best that, all you're doing is showing that you're being very tribal in this, and that you don't really care about whether or not the police did a good job. You're always going to say the police did a good job, even when they didn't. Next, with some of the police who are getting upset about the response to this. Look, I get that nobody likes to be armchair quarterbacked, especially when somebody, by somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. The fact of the matter is that you're in one of those professions that gets armchair quarterbacked all the time. And I understand if it's some idiot saying, well, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Or why didn't you just shoot him in the leg or something like that? I get that. That's stupid. However, with the situation where, your average person is saying, hey, you guys screwed up in Uvalde, yeah, let's face facts. You messed up on that one. And if you know you messed up and you still continue to do this, you're just armchair quarterbacking. You're not helping yourselves out any at all, and you're losing support for yourselves. So, with that being said, what you really need to do is you need to try to see where things went wrong and try to improve the situation, improve your response internally. And that's the fact of the matter to that. You're going to get armchair quarterback. I mean, it's a high, again, as I said, it's a high rate of armchair quarterbacking going on. You guys, I understand that. It's also a profession where you have a I shouldn't say higher likelihood of taking the big dirt nap prematurely as opposed to other people, other professions. I get that too. However, when you got somebody in there actively killing elementary students, sorry, dude, time's of the essence. You got to get your asses in there. You do worse damage by giving this mass killer more time before they receive an armed response. This is common sense. So, yeah. My next point I want to bring up, and this is something that some of us have been bringing up quite frequently about this. The fact of the matter is that as private citizens, as adult human beings, period, if you haven't figured a personal protection plan out, if you haven't put any thought into it, you need to. The fact of the matter is that we still live in the real world. It's still an imperfect world. Bad things still happen. And the whole idea of, well, the police will protect you is false. And this isn't a knock on the police for the most part. Police aren't Supermen. They can't be there 100% of the time, all the time, yada, 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 yada. The fact of the matter is that you're the first responder when you're the victim of a crime, or when you're the target of a perpetrator, be it a mass killer, an armed robber, a rapist, things of that nature. So the fact is that you really should be thinking about your own personal protection. Let you come in like, how you're paying your bills, how you going to put food on the table. It's in that area. It's not in the area of, do I want to take this trip to Disneyland this year or not? Disneyland is a want. And furthermore, it's interfering with other people who are trying to devise their own personal protection strategy. That's also wrong. And unfortunately, the gun controllers do this every time a mass killing comes up. They are probably the biggest impeders of stuff getting actually physically done, because either one of two things happen. Either A, they don't get their way and they spend so much time and effort, they get so much resources focused towards them that nobody thinks to do anything else. Or B, they do get their gun law, it doesn't work. In fact, sometimes does the complete opposite of what it's intended to do, like, leave people defenseless, or more defenseless. This thing happens again, and then they're immediately coming back out to do the same thing, rinse and repeat. And that's been a pattern, everywhere in the world. And unfortunately, governments like to side with these losers, these manipulative people, because they like to side on the side of that gets them more power and control. They want you to depend on them. One of the ways they deprive their power, or they get their power. Yes, pretty messed up, but it's true. There are other things that would do a lot better. First off, not not have it so it's impossible for people to get stuff to protect themselves. There is a whole proposal to hardening these schools, which I think that's a good mitigating factor. It's not going to solve the problem, but it will mitigate things. The fact of the matter is at any time you tell people that this place is a gun-free zone, and if you come in there with a gun or any sort of weapon, and we catch you, we're going to put you in jail for it. But you don't do anything else. The only people that are going to carry in that are the people like with mass killings in mind. Because guess what? You're going to commit murder. You're probably not concerned about that maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in prison you might do because you carried a gun onto that school property. And, worse is that you have other countries that have come out to exploit stuff like this. Canada, Justin Trudeau has even come out to exploit these particular mass killings that have happened in our country recently, by using it as a means to try to stop people from being able to own handguns now. Even though the ones that are talked about the most right now in this current situation, the guy used an AR-15. They never let a tragedy go to waste, huh? Never let a good crisis go to waste, huh, Justin? As for people here saying, well, what about the NRA? Dudes, the NRA, if you give your money to the NRA, you're pissing it away. The fact of the matter is that the NRA should not be in the financial situation it is, given how much money they've received in the past. The problem is they keep people like Wayne LaPierre there. And Wayne LaPierre loves to piss money away. So, again, you send your money into the NRA, you're pissing your money away. Good organizations to go for, GOA, FPC, things of that nature. They actually look like they're doing something with the money. So, with that being said, I'm going to go on to my next issue. Jinx brought up a very good point. Say, hey, a lot of the times we see somebody who's socially ostracized and we're discouraged from having any sort of contact with them, when having, contact with them, even so much as talking to them, might help the situation out. I think he's on to something with that one. And while you may not stop a mass killer by simply talking to somebody, um, mass killers are statistical outliers, regardless of what our media and our gun controllers would tell you here in the U.S. The fact of the matter is that, being their friend, they might learn some more social skills, might improve the quality of their life a little bit more, might prevent them from committing suicide. Hey, who knows? They may have just been going through a rough patch in their life, and that conversation you had with them made the difference between them turning things around and things spiraling out of control for them. So, Jenks is on to something when he brings that up. And I think this is a very good point. And in fact, there are a number of good points that could be had. And while I'm not a fan of the social safety nets, such as many people who are liberal are, I do realize that we do need to patch certain issues in our own system. Um, you know, Somebody who has worked their entire life off, doing manual labor and shit gets injured, can no longer do manual labor. I don't really think it's fair or right to sit there and tell that person, well, hey, tough luck. I mean, figure it out yourself. If that's the case, if we're going to do that, then, anybody doing a manual labor job that wears your fucking body out does need to get paid a lot more so they can actually have money set aside for if they do get injured. With that being said, there are a lot of problems that do need to be resolved. All that one. Another point that gets brought up is what makes a person hate society so much that they would turn to killing a bunch of innocent kids and trying to destroy the whole society. That was built up, and that's also a very good question. That is something that wouldn't hurt to explore. So these are certain issues. These are certain food for thought here. I'm going to wrap this up here, but it wouldn't surprise me to do another follow-on video to this whole thing right here. Oh, but before I go, those of us on the gun right side, we need to be prepared for a fight because the gun controllers are in full force and they got some rhinos at the table. So if one of your Congress creatures is one of these rhinos, namely a senator, because this is where we're going to have the best chance of stopping this, is in the Senate, you need to be all over their ass. And I can tell you right now, one of my senators is one of these very rhinos that I'm worried about. And quite frankly, I don't see how this guy wasn't primaried out like 50 times in the past. Well, I'm being hyperbolic with 50, but that being said, guys, if you value your freedom, time to get vocal now. I know the midterms are coming up, but people they replace these Congress creatures with, some of them anyway, you really think they're going to get up off their ass and undo all the messed up stuff that was done by the gun controllers? And even if they were willing to do so, do you think that Biden would sign off on that? I don't think he would. So again, pro freedom side, it is time to go back on this. We do need to stand up and protect our freedom, and hopefully this time around go on a counter offensive, proverbially speaking. Ask why we still have these gun-free zones. We should be demanding their repeal. We should be demanding a repeal of all these other ridiculous gun laws because they haven't worked. They haven't stopped these mass killings. They haven't stopped homicide. They haven't saved any lives. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. You all take it easy out there. You got the comment section below for those who want to chime in, but have a great day.